how to teach English in New York University. So someday I will combine two different fields, education and technology. And also NYU is famous, well known for educational technology. So I think it's time for us, with teachers, how to use the technology to teach and learning process. This is the title of the most famous and interactive book these days on Apple Store. After Harry Potter, this is the most popular fantasy novel, but this is e-books, not paper-based book. You will see what kind of books and textbooks in the future we can use it. So this will give some clues. So we will watch this video. Because most people misunderstood that e-book and paper-based book is pretty much the same, but the only difference is between both of them is one of them is paper, the other one is display. But actually not, because e-book actually have a lot of interactive activities available, and also they provide many functions. So students can fully engage in their activities because not only read, but they can touch it, they can draw it. So e-books will provide a lot more advantage for teachers and students. This is the topic of my research paper. Title is The Potential Influences on Pedagogics by Introducing iPad for Classroom 3.0. All the terms are, maybe you are clear what it is, but what about Classroom 3.0? Classroom 3.0 is, should be explained. The first one is classroom environment. One is that teachers will use chalk and blackboard. And classroom environment, second is teachers have electronic devices, but laptop and overhead projector is for teachers rather than for students. So, yeah, do you have a question? Okay. Classroom 3.0 looks like this, which means every single student have their own mobile devices in classroom. So that is the big difference between previous environment and Classroom 3.0. But I think looks like, well, this picture can tell us what it is. There is no furniture in the classroom, like Montessori philosophy. There is no furniture which will make some boundary, makes people to communicate harder. And they are wirelessly connected to each other with a teacher and a student. So they can communicate with anywhere, any place. So this is classroom environment 2.0. And now I'm going to talk about 5 things. The outline will tell you the big picture. First one is, I'm going to introduce what is the problem by using traditional learning and teaching tools. And second, using electronic devices is inevitable phenomenon. Some people may say it will happen like 10 years later or 10 years later, but I'm going to tell you it will happen in 3 or 5 years. And third one is what we can do in this new environment and what we have to do to fully take advantage from this new environment. And last thing is conclusion. First thing is we will take a video clip which will tell us what is the problem with using traditional learning tools. All the people in video clip, there are American teachers in public school. They will tell us what is the problem.
I teach because when you learn, you become a better person. Always.
I get to see young minds blossom, grow, develop.
The ability to engage a student is the key to being a good teacher.
Using outdated materials such as textbooks makes that job much more difficult.
In textbooks, there's diagrams, but they're static. Something like a cell membrane is a fluid thing, it's always moving.
With U.S. history, they print a textbook and it's outdated. I mean, it's the second that it's printed.
Textbooks are very expensive. They're usually $60 to $100 for different textbooks. So they're adopted for 5 years and then you're stuck with them.
They're extremely heavy, and if you have 3 or 4 in a backpack, it's a lot of weight, and so some students will simply just quit bringing textbooks to class.
All of them are really interesting, but the last person say some students do not bring their textbooks because simply it's too extreme heavy. Honestly speaking, someday I do not bring my textbooks when I go to school. So that is most serious problem. And also, some people may misunderstood that e-book will be more expensive than paper-based book. But these days, because of the price is going up of paper-based book, so the paper-based book price $800 annually for K-12 level. So actually, e-book could be more cheaper than paper-based book. And even if you are an educational proposal user or group purchaser, then you can save more money. This is some people describe our classroom environment. Many people say 21st century students are taught by 20th century teachers in 19th century classroom. This will tell us what kind of problem we are facing these days. So we need to do something to solve this problem, or maybe relieve this problem. So I'm going to tell you why this is an inevitable phenomenon. Because a few years ago, we didn't have a smartphone. Can you remember, right? Yes. Yeah. We didn't have a smartphone. But what about now? Just 4 years before and after, the big difference. So also tele-PC will be a must-have item in few years. Not only theory, but also many countries do some action to make new classroom environment. This is Korean environment, Korean government. The government say they will change all paper-based book, replaced with e-books by 2015. Less than 3 years, they will have, all the students in Korea, they will have their own tablet PC. Yes?
I have to just say something, because I did hear about Korea is very far advanced in terms of their internet, their wireless structure. In the United States, our wireless structure is not like any place else in the world. We are the worst.
Yeah.
All right? So that's a real issue for us. The fact that, these are great tools, but our classrooms are not wired for that. The country isn't even wired like the way South Korea is.
Yeah, but also I will introduce American government's opinion. But actually, that is one of the potential problems we will face, because for my research paper, I I was telling about the kind of problems we will face because we are not ready actually. But the government very aggressively started new classroom environment. So we need to do many kinds of things. I will tell you later. Yeah. And many schools in Korea actually started before actually government started. So we have a smartboard instead of blackboard. So smartboard has a touch screen. So there is no blackboard in classroom, and students have their own tablets in school. And Barack Obama say they will spend $80 billion annually to provide tablets for their students by 2017. So this is the reason why I say in 3 to 5 years, all the classroom environment will be changed as a e-learning classroom environment.
So I guess we should vote for Obama.
There's a very controversial issue, so yeah. Depends on who will be your president.
Were you thinking of Romney?
I'm not sure. She didn't mention yet about this classroom environment setting. Maybe if you want, you should vote for someone. This guy is actually lucky because he got a new job. What is this? He teaches how to use an iPad for education purposes. And the classroom title is iPad Study Skills Plus. They already start, not only in Korea, but also in the United States. Next thing is what can you do in this new environment? So I'm going to let you watch one short video clip, which tells you how to publish your own textbook in classroom. This is important because many teachers actually want to, they have to use a textbook in classroom, but not they fully satisfied with their textbook. In that case, they can publish their own textbook for their students for free. So students will download from the Apple Store, so they can download the book. Not only whole of the book, but just one chapter, maybe one subject specifically. Because every classroom have their own different students who have a different ability and different subject. So this
Usually will tell you any kind of book with iBooks offered. You can type directly into your book, or just drag and drop text from any pages or Word document. The layout automatically expands and adds new pages to fit all your copy, and formats it to match your template. When you want to add other elements to your book, it's as easy as dragging and dropping files from your desktop. Drop in a photo for the cover, or you can even add an intro movie. Your text flows smoothly around the graphics on your pages and instantly updates as you move them. Your books really come alive when you add dynamic, multi-touch elements to help expand your story. We call them widgets. You can use the chapter review widget to create review sections in your book that are perfect for textbooks. These hands-on study guides let readers test their knowledge right in the chapter.
I think the last function which you can make a review section will help you to assess your students more effectively. And next one is iTunes View, which will provide a lot of upper K-12 level lectures. More than 10,000 universities and schools, they offer their lecture for free online store. I mean, iTunes View University. So we can take a look.
Let's take a look at an MIT class with visits. The slide is pushed, and this will be my last lecture. I'm going to close my eyes. I don't want to see it. And I'm going to count down from 3 to 0.
The lecture is in MIT, and they provide not only just video and audio clip lecture, but also they provide syllabus and home assignments and even midterm and final term exams. So they provide not just lecture, but they provide exactly the same contents of offline university in MIT. So in the near future, the teachers will become a prosumer, the specific term, producer and consumer combined words. So we will produce our own contents, and also we will consume others' contents. So you will publish your book, and other teachers will read your book, and they will update their book also, and they can update each other's their contents. So it could be more ecosystem. This is a Khan Academy website, and Khan is an MIT student. He teaches more than 24 million students online. And interestingly, more than 40% of students are foreigners or who are in different countries. So if you are English teacher or you will become English teacher, in 3 or 5 years later, you will teach, your students will be foreigner or who are in different countries. So we will have more opportunity to teach others to relieve inequality of education opportunity, and also we will make more profit.
Welcome to the presentation on Basic Addition.
In August of 1789, they've already done their version of the Declaration of Independence. The process is called photosynthesis.
What Saul Kahn has done is amazing. He's taken all this material and broken them down into little 12-minute lectures. I use it myself to remind myself of things. I have children who like it.
I want it to be a standalone virtual school where anyone in the world who wants to learn anything can go there, start from the basics, progress as far as they need to go, get feedback, get assessment, get practice, and eventually I want it to actually become the operating system for what goes on in the classroom, where every student is allowed to work at their own pace, and the teacher actually becomes more of a mentor or of a coach.
Next thing is what we have to do to fully take advantage from this new environment. Because as somebody said, we are not ready, but we have to prepare a lot of things because we need to prepare, we need to amend our laws and policies, and service providers should update their website not to linking any kind of violence or sexual video clips to young students. So this is a Robust laws by Isaac Asimov. He said in many books, someday we will have a robot, so we need to prepare by making some new laws to control this new environment. So we have a lot of different environments we will have. So we need, I think it's a time for us to prepare this kind of stuff, like making a law and amend. And I think the more important thing is the teachers are not good at using technology, unfortunately. So I believe that teachers or prospective teachers will learn how to use electronic devices. And I think these two different subjects are necessary, like a philosophical subject, because teachers will guide their students to deploy the bunch of overwhelming amount of information online, which are very practical, but which are long information. So conclusion is that I think we should give more chance to the iPad, because when you think about the whole history, the iPad was just released 3 years ago, but we have been using pencil and paper-based for more than 100 years. But I think 10 years before and 10 years after paper-based will be pretty much the same. But each device will have a lot more potentiality. So 10 years ago, 10 years after, computer will be a lot different. So even though many research papers tells us that there is no big differences between using printed book or iPad for education purposes, but actually it is positive result because it means they do not calculate the potentiality of using e-learning tools. And also, Malcolm Gladwell tells us, why don't you have many vast spaghetti sauce? Why don't we have many different types of milk in the market? Because in the past, we have only one type of milk, one type of spaghetti sauce in the past. But now we have many different selections in the market, like the two-fat milk, high-fat hot milk, soy milk, coconut milk. Why the selection actually makes our lives thrive? So why don't you give them more options? Not only one typical learning tool, but if your students want to maybe prefer to use electronic devices, they will use. If your students will prefer to traditional learning tool, they will use it. So give more options to them. like multiple intelligence. We had only one definition of intelligence or smartness, but now we have many different types of smartness. So your student may be good at using electronic device or not. So this is the comments I introduced at the first time. But I think teachers should be changed like this. So teachers should be, teachers who can teach students with using pedagogy, which means that teachers should be 21st century teachers who can teach disabilities with state-of-the-art means. Yeah. Question?
We're actually going to start using iPads, and we've got Nooks also in our district. But I really don't know how to use them very well myself. What's a good way to go about learning how to, be good on an iPad?
Yeah, the easiest way is you just put some keywords for your application's name on the YouTube. Then you can research. You can find tons of instruction video players. So they will tell you how to use it. And many teachers actually updated their video play online. Also, there is a community to share their ideas, share their experience, how to use those kind of applications for teaching and learning. So it could be very effective, but also governments will provide new service. I think it could be used like a Genius Bar in Apple Store. So there is a technician supporter. Then they will teach, or they will help the teachers, not only mechanical things, content also. So now somebody will learn not only technology, but also how to teach. Any other questions? And also somebody tells us, what about students will use iPad for entertainment purposes, not for educational purposes? It could be possible, right? So because kids are really like iPad and they are fully engaged, but they play games all the time. So they worry about it. But fortunately, we have an application which can control this situation because the name is guided access. So you can use the guided access, which has a function that if you don't want to allow any specific website or program, you can set the password so the students cannot open the program or visit the website like Facebook or Twitter. So this means one function tool that only allows specific programs and websites to be open and conducted.
The iTunes and iBook I offer, that's all free right now?
Yeah, all the programs I introduced today are completely free.
But can iBook be used on an iPad or only on a Mac desktop?
iBook?
Yeah.
Yeah, only
iBook Author can only be used on a Mac.
yes.
Can't be used on an iPad.
Yeah. Some programs are both are available like Android or Mac or PC, but iAuthors and iBooks are available in Apple products.
But not on an iPad. I was told. I don't know if anyone else. What?
You should be able to.
You can?
Yeah, iPad is also available because all the Apple products are available. iPhone, Mini, or iPad, MacBook, Macro, any Apple products are fine.
I hope so too, but someone told me different. So
I feel like that would be a failure if
it would be.
Fix it by like next week. Yeah, it should be. And the students have total access to that through like iTunes University, or do you just send them a link after the meeting?
Sorry,
how do the students get access to your?
How to access the iTunes view? If you have only a PC, not Mac, you can visit the Apple website and you download iTunes. That is a program. So after installing iTunes, then you can access iTunes for free. So you don't have to have only Apple product, but also PC and Windows, any products are fine to use iTunes U. And there is a section of iTunes U, iTunes, and music and movie. Yeah, once you install the iTunes program, then you will find how to use it. Very easy to, user-friendly interface. You can see it.
I just want to note that I was actually given some iPads by my district with iTunes on it, but I couldn't buy any apps. And so during the summer, I signed off, put my own iTunes on, so that I could buy apps for my students. And I got into a lot of trouble. So just, you should know what your district is allowing or not allowing there. They got very upset because, I don't know, something about the cloud.
Yeah, your question is about how to control that kind of situation that students are access and use some application and websites you don't want. Is it?
Yeah, it wasn't an aspect of that. It was just that my information was, my personal information was on the cloud. So, it's just something to be aware of, that these are all new things for all of us, and that, you should just make sure you're aligning yourself with what your district policy is on the use of iPads if you're using iTunes.
First, I want to let you watch one video play. Do I have a time?
Yeah, 3 minutes.
3 minutes. This is a guide access. And this is a video player which you can use.
There are a lot of great apps in the App Store like this one that are designed specifically for children with autism. The problem is there are some controls, some settings and other controls in the app that you don't want the child to tap while they're using the app. So guided access allows you to just circle those controls with your finger. We'll figure out which ones you mean, and we'll disable those controls for you. The child now can use the app without accidentally hitting those. And we lock the device into a single app mode, so hitting the home button doesn't leave the app. Now this is great beyond children with autism. It's really single app mode, and single app mode has a lot of applications. There are a lot of schools who have been adopting iPads, and some are starting to actually administer tests on their iPads. Well, single app mode allows the teacher to lock that iPad into the test, so the students can't go look up the answers in Safari.
Yeah. So that is necessary, right? Because students can find the answer online through the Safari, so they control not to go out of the program. And also they not only control the program and website, also they can put the password which they don't, which teachers don't want to students visit or use.
Although it was Henry Ford who said, it doesn't matter how much you know, you just have to know how to find it. He did pretty well for himself.
Do you have any other questions? Yeah, thank you for coming. And the material I spread out is about some practical applications which might be very helpful for teachers and students. I actually use those all the applications on the list, so I can reduce time to do my research paper and